All right. Hello. Hello and welcome back, friends. Hopefully the audio works. As you know, I have an issue with the audio in the past. So let's go to get after it here. All right. So charting our old friend Ethereum. So this was yesterday. I didn't do the daily yesterday. I think I just need to on Sundays. Probably not. So my bad if you had the expectation of a charting for VeeFriends yesterday, but took that day off. You can see there was actually a lot of activity. So yesterday we ended up digging deep again. How deep? Deeper than the initial big dip, I would say. Deeper. This is what we had before. Let's just see what this looks like if we move it. I mean, it gives us a little data, but it's a little weird. We're going to remove that. One thing I want to do, I want to double check, since there's new information, I want to double check to see if maybe adjusting our fibs is necessary. And I want to make sure that we don't have anything that's unnecessary as well. So we're going to just check our work. Okay, so we're going from top to the bottom. And this line we had put, I would call this a very long, very high time frame line. And we built that back here. So you see there was another really deep test. I mean, it tested our Fibonacci here. For all intents and purposes, now that we had yesterday, I'm going to adjust this fib. And I've adjusted some of them as well earlier. Let me see if I can make this clear. Yesterday, didn't do it live. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go from candle body to candle body, since we had this deep thing here going on. And I want to see if that gives us any more tighter information. So again, candle body to candle body. So one thing with these fibs is if you're going to go candle bodies, you got to go candle bodies to candle body. If you're going to go with wicks, then go wick to wick. For this, I'm looking at a 4-hour and going body to body. And we're just, I mean, it doesn't need to be perfect, but you want to be consistent. And again, this line here, it's semi-arbitrary, but I like to have it there as just a point of reference. As you know, we're on a higher time frame, not necessarily the highest, but we're on a higher time frame, and that's where we're drawing our fib. We're doing it from the top to the bottom on this chart in particular, and just made this little adjustment here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to run through all of these. I don't really want to take a super long amount of time. As we know, technical analysis is probably not the most interesting thing in the world. And it's probably, well, I should say it's probably not the most entertaining thing in the world. So I'm just going to do my best to just not bore you to death. But yeah. And again, yesterday was the big giveaway thing last night. The Discord was absolutely on fire. And yeah. And anyone that doesn't know, diehard Knicks fan. So it is what it is. Onward and upward. So it was a really good time. Shout out to the guys that do that Clubhouse too. That was really fun hearing some of the giveaway winners and having like their reactions. It was really fun. A lot of genuine people. Okay, so I'm not going to mess around with this yellow line. We're not. But again, this line here, it's its reference on a very long time frame. You can see that we had a dig, pretty deep dig here on Ethereum, just looking at it on a higher time frame. And you can see that there's been a lot of upward mobility, I should say. So at this point, and just looking at it here, I would be looking at this as a point of resistance, local resistance. Reason being is because we've met that in the past and got rejected and actually went deeper. So it's just something to consider. Another thing to consider as we're on 4-hour candles is the volume is still here. We still have a decent amount of volume. And if you look at the VPSV, I don't know if it's going to be able to load. If you look at the VPSV, you can see that today's session volume is somewhere in this range, so the 22 range. So if we were to, let's just say, for example, and this is just my thoughts only, if we were to not catch a green here and move lower, I believe that there would be some sort of support here. But again, I mean, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have any of that stuff. But there would probably be a lot of a reasonable amount of activity at this point, just based on 4, 8, the past couple 20 hours. Dig deeper. What we have is there was a clear test on this R1 in this range. Pretty clear bounce off of the pivot. The volume activity is up here. And let me see. I gotta open this up. It does weird things sometimes when you put the pivots on. So we have pretty good information here. I mean, obviously it wasn't hitting the pivots perfectly. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. But you can see we were testing. What is this? This is that line that we had produced. I don't know, this line might be a little confusing. I'll leave it there. So all right, so it looks like we have a clear bounce off of here, movement to the upside, clear resistance here, not necessarily any sort of a rejection, but definitely checking and asking the market if we're going to have more upside. And you can see this in this sort of activity where it taps it quickly. Again, we're on 5-minute candles now. It taps that area quickly, starts moving in a small downtrend, and then somewhere around this point, the market started waking up. So this is 6:50, right before 7 o'clock this morning, and tested the R1 again, and then basically shot through it. So I would expect, and you can see here, we looked at the volume earlier on a different time frame, and the volume was up here. So getting our support on this pivot was a little bit more volume than up here. And you can see we're pretty close. So I would call this 1 and call this 2. And remember, on another time frame, oh boy, on another time frame, you can see it's actually a little bit higher. Anyway, too confusing. So what are the probabilities? What are the probabilities and or possibilities? We have a decent amount of support here at this range, at this area. We've made it past this line, which this line was a support and resistance line from the past. This is not a Fibonacci line. And what we have is a clear test on the resistance, broke through, and we're kind of doing one of these things in space. Now the market, I would say, is possibly looking at this area. We're gonna have to see what ends up happening if there ends up being more volume, because you can see the volume is picking up. The volume is actually picking up here as well. And you can see we have a fair amount of volume here. Yeah. So when you have when we have this watch list, and especially here, we're able to see kind of what's going on, like a quick outline as to what's happening here. Anytime that I see Bitcoin dominance start to reduce, what that tells me is there's a lot of activity in the alts. So we have these alts here. These are the community picks. A lot of activity in the alts. When we see this Bitcoin dominance going up, and this is, again, I don't want to get too crazy into this, but you can kind of see what was going on here. So we had this, and then what we have is we've broken through this resistance. You can see we have a lot of green breaking through, and now this is kind of where we are on the timeline. Not necessary to chart Bitcoin dominance per se. I mean, I only do it just to give myself, I would much rather have points of reference than kind of just be out in space. And that's kind of why and you can see here, remember we just did that line. I'm going to leave this line here because it, just on surface level, you can see here, this is the total market cap. There was all that talk of drop of $1 trillion market cap. You can see that here. This was that initial dump, I would say, on the 19th. And then this was yesterday's test of the area. And then you can see all this green here represented in total market cap. Eventually, I'll get into the alt market cap, but not quite yet. Let's see what Bitcoin, our dear friend Bitcoin, is doing. Remember, this was that line again. It's kind of an arbitrary line, but we produced this line somewhere in this time frame. Let me see. We produced this line somewhere around here. There was a test of it here. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Rejected here. And this is kind of where we are again right now. Fell through. Again, this was yesterday. It didn't dig as deep as the alts did. So one thing to note is Bitcoin. You see there was this, and then you could see, if you remember with the alts, there was a clear test of this. So basically what we're looking at is, we'll drill in. I'll leave that line there as well. This is not necessary. This, I think it was from a previous conversation on stream. And this is what the activity from yesterday. So this is Sunday, that deep test. This is that arbitrary line that we had produced in the past. Test, breakthrough, support, break through the support, find support again, tappity tap. And I would expect similar activity here, similar activity to test. So similar activity here where we are basically testing, and you can see there's a lot of big green here. So, Monday morning in the US, there appears to be a push. There is a fair amount of volume as well. Like a lot of this volume here, these big volume spikes are what I would say, sell volume, or, whether it be panic selling, I don't know. But this volume indicates that there was a lot of downward pressure. And we've got a little bit of volume happening as we test in this area. We'll throw on our session volume, and again, you can see there's for this in particular, there was a lot of volume in this time to find support. And in the middle here of this range, there was also a lot of volume to push to the upside. This, we don't have enough data yet. We will see how this pans out. And a lot of these charts here, you're going to see a lot of the charts, they have a similar, this is a fan favorite, ADA. Let's do this. So again, it's the same story here. And the reason why we're in this golden pocket area here is, again, the Fibonacci, you really, when you're drawing Fibonacci's, you have to remember, okay, are we doing it from, and again, I recommend for anybody that's doing this or learning how to do this, do it from the most recents. I think this one here, the reason why we have this golden pocket area is this Fibonacci is built from over here to the top, instead of what we see on the Bitcoin and Ethereum, where I have it here to there. Now, it doesn't make a huge difference. You can do it either way, both ways, as long as you have major areas of confluence, major areas of activity. And when you're drilling in and you're going on the low time frame, you really want to understand, where are your lines? Why are they there? Do we have it up this way? Do we have it down that way? So on and so forth. Sometimes it's difficult for even myself to remember. That's why, you got to zoom out. Everyone always talks about zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. So there's our zoom out. So I would say we are looking at, remember this diagonal kind of, I would say, medium time frame diagonal, where it was riding as support, resistance, rejection, got up there, riding support, rejected. So we know where this line comes from, and we know that we just recently broke through the area. And even if you wanted to get so wild, you can see recently we've also gotten past this hurdle as well. So there is a pretty much the same exact story on ADA, pretty much same story. We're in this area. The expectation would be to keep an eye if we're going to get rejected, or so we're working past, I think I posted on the Discord, I think we were testing this R1. At this point, we're past the R1. We're into this range right now. Where is it going? I don't have RSIs here. Let's see. RSI. Okay. Oh yeah. I should have done this before, but I'm not a fan of the way that this is. Let me see. Hey, hang on just a sec. All right, so we're gonna go here, this. Okay, I just like to have, I try to keep minimum stuff as possible. So for the RSI on this, we can actually see that there has been, relative strength index. It's something to look into. It's one of those indicators, and again, not necessarily to get crazy with paralysis by analysis or anything like that, but it's always another good tool. So you can see there was a lot of I guess, oversold around this area, but that's what we saw without any of this data here. And we're getting back up to that point. It took a lot of energy to get to this point. I don't want to get too into it, but you can see, you can sort of see this will give you more information as to what's going on. Let's see. Dear friend Matic, our dear friend Matic has done quite a lot since Sunday afternoon. And again, we're playing in here. If anyone's actually watching this live, I think I can see the chat. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not sure. I'll look at it every once in a while if you're in and you see this live. All 6 of you, just say hello. Testing these resistance areas. Found support here on cake. I mean, this, we're talking about, we're dipping under $10 yesterday. So, I mean, these, oh, geez. So from Sunday, so for less than 24 hours, this is what we're looking at. 68, 78%. Same thing with like Matic, all of these things. So one thing, if you're in this trade or if you're in this at all, one thing to consider is, again, it's why it's always good to have supports and resistance. So, you know, where do I have fibs on there? Oh yeah, we do. Okay. It's going to be interesting. That's for sure. You know, this was a bit of a slow climb, but parabolic nonetheless. A couple months, and then this was obviously and then we're in this area. So, you know, which way is it going to go from this point, up or down? I have no idea, but we do have data. Solana was discussed last night. They're all doing similar things. They're all doing similar things. So basically, support, broke through, find support again, ride the pivot, find support, check it out again, a little bit of a rejection, back down, going up. Now we can do, and here's dot. Oh, one thing that I posted actually is this. So we talk about Fibonacci on horizontals. There is also Fibonacci on channels as well. Let me just so on 4-hour candles here, we have the Fibonacci's built. This was actually from here to here, and you can see the points. And with this recent drop, we have the ability to produce a channel. And I'll show you kind of how I do this channel. So idea is take it from the top and the next secondary bottom. So what we have, let me see here. So what we have is if you can imagine an invisible line. So the idea is take it from here, the invisible line, and you can see that's pretty much 3 taps on that line. So you have the top right here where we're starting. You have this line, and for this one in particular, we'll do wicks since we're on a 4-hour. From here to here, and I'll just bring it all the way to where we are here. So that's going to be that. And then what we're looking for is we're looking for the first bottom, which is right around here. You can see it's right around, let's see, how do I get out of here? Nah, I can't, we'll fix it up later. So, which is right around here. So you see this line, this one line. We're gonna put it right there. Top, so remember, channel. Top, bottom, everything else draws itself. And what we have for data is the reaction on these areas. So again, golden pocket matters. This area matters. This top matters. Everything in between, what we're seeing, and we could do this pretty much, because remember, we were discussing all of the other alts and even Bitcoin and Ethereum. But what you can see here is clear reactions. Clear reactions. So in terms of support and resistance and all of that, we have, it's the same idea. We can get a little bit deeper into it. Just for all intents and purposes, just don't want to make this more confusing than it needs to. And, you can see there's a story being told. So now that we have, and this is kind of crazy, but let me know if this is too much and too confusing. But now what we have is we have horizontal fib and we have channel fib. And you can see very, very clear reactions in the golden pocket area on the channel. Again, a lot of up and down, a lot of up and down. There's a lot of decisions being made there. Tap down here, a lot of up and down, and then upside. The other thing about this is it gives us information on possible reversals. So I have this actually set up where there's a little bit less noise. And these brown lines or orange lines, whatever there is, these what I would call key areas on a reversal. So my expectation is when we get back up into this area, we're going to start seeing some volatility because we're going to be trying to work to the upside. It may be very quick and it may be very, it depends. There's just not, there's information enough to create these channels, but there's just not enough where we are right now. There's, again, there's a lot of uncertainty. So it's just something that I like to watch, but you see, we have very, very clear, relatively clear support on this first orange. And now we're just kind of moving around over here. So yeah, that's that. I really don't know what else to talk about. Anyone that watches this, by all means, let me get some feedback. And again, I know technical analysis, it's not the most entertaining thing in the planet, but we'll do our best here. So that's dot. Yeah, you can see there's movement going on. But again, when you see this movement just on a surface level, if you don't do a lot of technical analysis, you have to ask yourself, and this is why I think it's important to know where the levels are. You have to ask yourself, what is the risk? So let's just say you're looking at something here and it's up 26%. It's 26% up from here. We have our Fibonacci areas. So the question that you want to ask yourself is, where is it going? How much potential does it have to go to wherever you think it's going to go? And how much potential for downward, you know? And that's just really, you know, surface level basics, you know. And again, Matic is extremely volatile. We have a lot of support at this point, but we're playing in this area. We need to think about where, you know, what are the probabilities and possibilities. And that's really all this technical analysis is. You know, I'm going to do my best to try to keep everything as indifferent as possible, and just try to help here. All right, VeeFriends, let's take a look. You know what? I don't really want to do that right now. I think there's less than, I think there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 VeeFriends left, and the secondary market on OpenSea has been very active. There was like a huge one, huge adventurous astronaut yesterday. Epic, very big. So if you have interest in, you know, if you're interested in seeing what's going on there, OpenSea. I saw there was a question regarding public wallets and how to see, you know, things like that. The place to find that is basically Etherscan and CryptoSlam. Put your hands on it a few times, and it'll make sense. You know, it's just like this. You put your hands on it, you play around with it. You have to want to do it, is really what it is. I know, like, in the crypto space of the roller coaster, there's a lot of high highs, a lot of low lows. You know, if you get into the frame of mind where you want to understand and try to figure out what's going on, it's as simple as just putting your hands on it and playing around. Nothing needs to be crazy high level and really anything like that. You know, the most important things I would say for someone who really wants to get into analysis is you need to know your ranges, and you need to be aware of volume, ranges. And then you want to think about it as like speed, like, okay, how fast, you know, I like to think about things in speed. But just know with this, basically it's on every line, or I'm sorry, it's on almost every single crypto product. Is we're at this point where we just stopped respecting this resistance line, and now we're in another time and space, and it's every single one of them. So you see here, in some way, shape, or form, you can do it from there. You can do it from here. So here's a good example: resistance, support. And that's just one simple line. Oh, resistance. Actually, you know what? Curious. This one's a little weirder. It went down and then started again. Let's take a peek. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of, this one's a little bit different. Similar things with different things happening, you know? Again, it's all about trying to find confluence. You want to find confluence. You want to find confluence among many different time frames, and you want to, yeah, this is in that same realm. So let's just say, for example, with the recent activity, if we just took those tops and did something here, you know, that's going to give you information. It's going to give you information on what to expect and probabilities, right? It's a game of probabilities. And in this game of probabilities, you just want to have more wins than losses and exercise patience and perspective. And do not try to confirm your own biases. So that's it. Appreciate you watching. Oh, hang on. We have, oh, wow, there's a 1065 left. Thanks, David. 1065 left. Awesome. Happy you were here watching. Wow, that's exciting. That's the first time. This is the first time that I've ever been able to talk to someone on the live. I'm heading out of here. Again, I'm going to try to do this daily. If this thing provides any sort of value to you, by all means, let me know. I apologize that it's not the most entertaining, but just doing what I can. Thanks for chiming in, David. You're the man. See ya.